Please, it's okay. You're stars. We like you for who you are. Insulated divas whose talent allows you to pig out on the finer things in life because we all need something to aspire to. But being talented, which you are, isn't the same as knowing things or having the credibility to advise people on their politics. You rail against privilege, but you avail yourself of the greatest privilege of all, to remain clueless. You can't argue with a straight face or even a gay face that the Academy in 2026 still overlooks minority achievement, or that Hollywood is biased in favor of all white people, just Australians. But come on, man, can we live in the present? No Academy member this year filled out their ballot thinking, well, I didn't think Chalamet was very good, but I'll vote for him because he's white. Hollywood isn't a secret cabal of racists. It's a secret cabal of people terrified of looking like racists.
Please, it's okay. You're stars. We like you for who you are. Insulated music. Divas whose talent allows you to pig out on the finer things in life. Because we all need something to aspire to. But being talented, which you are, isn't the same as knowing things or having the credibility to advise people on their politics. Music, you rail against privilege, but you avail yourself of the greatest privilege of all, to remain clueless. You can't argue with a straight face or even a gay face. Laughter.
That Joe Rogan was not nominated.
For Best Podcast?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of popular, and, you know,
it is known.
It is known.
He's absolutely brilliant at what he does.
And he's very good at what, exactly. So you're going to have an inaugural podcast category.
And you don't have...
It just speaks to living in the blue sky bubble. Yeah. But get out of your fucking bubble, you know? I want to be one of you. I am one of you. But you're just so hard to defend because you're and this town is the epicenter of the problem. It really is.
How many more liberal Democrats are there? There's you that say what you say.
That the Academy in 2026 still overlooks minority achievement, or that Hollywood is biased in favor of all white people, just Australians. Applause, but come on, man. Can we live in the present? No Academy member this year filled out their ballot thinking, well, I didn't think Shalom was very good, but I'll vote for him 'cause he's white. Hollywood isn't a secret cabal of racists. It's music. A secret cabal of people terrified of looking like racists. Let's be honest for a second. One of the weirdest things about modern culture is that the people who pretend to be the most oppressed are often the people living the most insulated, luxurious, reality-proof lives on Earth. That's Hollywood in a nutshell. These are people with private chefs, personal trainers, gated mansions, brand deals, assistants, stylists, and enough money to never stand in a grocery line again. And yet somehow they still want to lecture the rest of us about struggle, morality, politics, and how we're all supposed to think. And at a certain point, regular people just stop nodding along and start laughing. So hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment because this whole celebrity sermon circuit has gotten way too ridiculous to ignore. Glaring that Joe Rogan was not nominated for Best. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of popular and, known. It is known. He's absolutely brilliant at what? And he's very good at what? Exactly. So you're going to have an inaugural podcast category, and maybe it just speaks to living in the blue sky bubble, but get out of bubble, I want to be one of you. I am one of you. But you're just so hard to defend because you're just and in this town is the epicenter of the problem. It really is. How many more liberal Democrats are there? There's you that say what you say. That's why Bill Maher's latest rant lands so hard. Not because he's saying something brand new, but because he's saying the quiet part out loud in a town that survives on fake applause and forced agreement. Hollywood loves pretending it's brave. It loves dressing up conformity as courage. It loves selling you the fantasy that repeating the approved opinion is somehow rebellious. But it isn't. It's safe. It's calculated. It's corporate. It's the cultural version of wearing a leather jacket to a board meeting and calling yourself edgy. And that's the real problem. Hollywood used to be obsessed with making stars. Now it's obsessed with making statements. It used to care about memorable stories, iconic characters, and scenes people would quote for decades. Now half the industry seems more interested in earning moral brownie points from people on social media than in making something audiences actually enjoy. You can feel it when you watch a lot of modern movies and shows. The script stops, the characters flatten out, the story takes a backseat, and suddenly you're not watching a film anymore. You're watching a lecture with mood lighting. That's where Maher's frustration connects with so many people. He's not just attacking a few celebrities for being annoying. He's going after the entire machine that rewards smugness over substance. You did a lot of them. Though, yeah. Oh, I just got a Golden Globe nomination for the one I did. That's my yeah. Yesterday. How often do you get nominated for your specials? No. I used to get nominated for everything, and then the wokeness came in, and then I was considered conservative with ridiculous. Music. I was what I call soft cancel, where you only know I'm a Bill Clinton liberal, which is from the 90s, which is now called a Nazi far white supremacist. So this is the first time in a while I've been nominated for something. Okay, which I think shows a little bit music, that we are coming out of wokeness. I mean, I'm going to tell I'm not going to win, and I'm probably not even going to go, but I take it as a victory that they were not able to ignore how good that special was. I just say it's my last one, because let's face it, the modern celebrity political lecture almost always follows the same script. A millionaire who hasn't lived like a normal person in 20 years looks into a camera, tells struggling families what kind of values they need, throws in some buzzwords, acts like disagreement is evil, and then disappears back into a lifestyle so detached from ordinary life, it may as well be on another planet. And regular people notice that disconnect immediately. They notice it because real life has consequences. Real people cannot afford to be wrong in the same casual way celebrities can. If an ordinary worker makes a stupid public statement, it can cost them their reputation, their job, their relationships, or their financial stability. When a celebrity says something foolish, they get a PR team, a curated apology, a magazine cover, and maybe even a documentary about their journey. That's not wisdom, that's insulation. I could gather. And I think I will because it'll be funny. Just the incredibly stupid things that celebrities say, music, about politics, or finance or something. Yeah, we're back. And then if you're like the person out there going, well, how can you live on $100 million a year? Vote Kamala. Laughter. Like that's the game over. People are like, yeah, I can't let the country in the hands of these people. I'll vote for this guy who's crazy, but at least is kind of crazy. I can almost relate to him more. And once you see that insulation, you can't unsee it. Suddenly, every grand political speech from a red carpet starts sounding less like courage and more like theater, because it is theater. These people are performers. That's their gift. That's what they're good at. They can move us, entertain us, make us laugh, make us cry, and create unforgettable moments on screen or stage. Great, that matters. There is real value in art and performance. But being talented does not magically make you informed. It does not make you grounded. It does not make you a political philosopher. And it definitely does not make you morally superior to the audience buying the tickets. Please, it's okay. You're stars. We like you for who you are. Insulated divas whose talent allows you to pig out on the finer things in life. Because we all need something to aspire to. Applause, but being talented, which you are, isn't the same as knowing things or having the credibility to advise people on their politics. You rail against privilege, but you avail yourself of the greatest privilege of all, to remain clueless. But Hollywood can't help itself. It has this endless need to be seen as not just entertaining, but morally enlightened. And once that becomes a goal, everything starts shifting. Awards stop feeling like awards and start feeling like ideological participation trophies. Scripts start sounding less like human conversations and more like committee-approved messaging documents. Publicists start deciding which opinions are safe enough to promote, and every actor starts trying to prove they are one viral speech away from sainthood. Here's where it gets funny, though. The same industry that constantly talks about diversity of voices often seems terrified of actual diversity of thought. You can say almost anything in Hollywood, as long as it points in the approved direction. But step even slightly outside the bubble. question the narrative, mock the slogans, or refuse to play along, and suddenly you're radioactive. You're not brave anymore. You're problematic. You're not independent anymore. You're dangerous. That's the joke Ma is hammering home. He's not saying everyone in Hollywood is some cartoon villain. He's saying the town has built a culture where people are more afraid of looking wrong to each other than of being wrong to everyone else. Dave Chappelle lashed out at me last month because I called him out for saying there was more free speech in Saudi Arabia than here. Well, I was right. What he said was stupid. America has many problems, including free speech issues on both left and right. But we're real different than Saudi Arabia. If you don't believe me, try opening a lesbian art gallery there. That fear spills into the awards world, too, and people can feel it. No, voters are not sitting there twirling mustaches and saying, let's ignore talent because of race. That's too simplistic. The problem is almost the opposite. The problem is that the entire ecosystem is so terrified of appearing insensitive, exclusionary, or politically backward that it starts overcorrecting in ways that make the audience question the legitimacy of the whole thing. When that happens, trust Eritis. And once people stop trusting the motives behind the applause stops meaning much. That's why so many viewers have tuned out award shows. Not just because they're long and self-important, but because they increasingly feel disconnected from what audiences actually value. Viewers want excellence. They want memorable performances, powerful writing, stunning directing, and movies that stick in the culture because they earned it. They do not want to be told that their eyes, ears, and instincts are less valid than the moral checklist of a committee. People know when something is great. People also know when something is being pushed at them with the emotional force of a mandatory HR seminar. And that same disconnect shows up in celebrity endorsements. For years, political strategists acted like a famous face was some kind of cheat code. Get enough singers, actors, and influencers lined up behind campaign, and the public would surely fall in line. Survey of Ohio voters found Taylor Swift's endorsement actually had a negative impact, with 24% saying it made them less enthusiastic about her as a candidate. Read the room, Democrats. Applause. Celebrities aren't helping. And why music, would they? In a country where the big issue now is affordability. Outside of, Springsteen and a few others, celebrities don't strike people as relatable or in touch. And what their activism mostly activates is eye rolls. But that idea crashes into reality the moment ordinary people ask one very simple question. Why should I care what this person thinks? Being able to sell out an arena does not mean you understand inflation. Winning an Oscar does not mean you understand foreign policy. Having a hit album does not mean you understand crime, border security, education reform, or the cost of groceries. In fact, the louder the celebrity endorsement, the more it can backfire. Because instead of making a candidate seem credible, it can make the whole thing feel even more manufactured. Like the campaign is trying to distract from weak arguments with shiny objects. Ricky's right. Celebrities don't know about the real world. So, Democrats, it's great you have all the big celebs, but people see them as an arm of the Democratic Party, which they already suspect for lacking common sense. Applause. No, the celebrities mean well, and we thank them for having their heart in the right place. But just do what you do so well. Use your extraordinary talents for the noble cause of bringing relief from the problems that ribbons, music, and pins can't fix. And people are not nearly as gullible as the cultural elites assume. Voters can smell fake from a mile away. They know when they're being emotionally manipulated. They know when a talking point has been prepackaged. And nothing screams prepackaged like a multimillionaire celebrity trying to cosplay as the voice of the common man. That's why Maher's broader point matters. It's not really celebrities bad. It's celebrities are not built for authority just because they're visible. Visibility is not wisdom. Sinners this year is up for more Oscars than any movie ever. Sinners is good. It doesn't need affirmative action. Neither did Parasite or Shape of Water. Was she a fish? The audience is pushing back not because people hate art or hate celebrities or hate politics. They're pushing back because they're tired of being treated like an audience only when it's time to buy a ticket and like a classroom full of moral inferiors the rest of the time. People want entertainment that respects them. They want commentary that feels earned. They want authenticity instead of branding. And they want cultural elites to stop mistaking applause from inside the bubble for approval from the rest of the country. In the end, Bill Maher's rant hits because it cuts through performance. It says what a lot of people have been thinking for years. Hollywood has become addicted to its own self-image. It thinks every opinion is profound because it set it under a spotlight. It thinks every lecture is noble because a famous person delivered it. It thinks every award is a triumph of justice because it was framed that way in a press release. But outside the bubble, people are less impressed. They're more skeptical. They're asking harder questions. And honestly, good. That skepticism is healthy. Maybe the fix is simpler than Hollywood wants to admit. Make great movies. Tell compelling stories. Let actors act. Let comedians joke. Let musicians perform. And stop pretending every acceptance speech is a sermon from a mount. Entertain people first. Earn their respect second. And maybe, just maybe, stop confusing fame with wisdom. Because the public is clearly over that game. Hollywood can keep congratulating itself if it wants. It can keep mistaking smugness for sophistication and activism for artistry. But the audience has changed. The spell is wearing off. And once people stop treating celebrities like prophets and start treating them like what they actually are, performers, the whole cultural balance shifts. Honestly, it already is. So what do you think? Has Hollywood completely lost the plot? Or do you think Bill Maher is exaggerating? Drop your take in the comments because this debate is not going away anytime soon. And if you enjoyed this, like the video, subscribe for more. And stick around because there's a whole lot more nonsense in modern culture that deserves to be dragged into the light. And real quick before you go, if you want more direct political coverage and fast breakdowns of the biggest news stories, I've got a new channel called Blue Check News. Head over there, subscribe, and I'll see you on that channel. 2. You will find a link in the description.